We have a bit of a late feed pop quiz for you. So which one of these presidents is getting involved in the Georgia governor's race? Well, it's kind of a trick question because the answer is all of them. That's right. You have Donald Trump, Barack Obama, and Jimmy Carter all taking sides in the governor's race. President Trump will be making one of his last pre-election stops here in Georgia, and the president will be in Macon on Sunday to campaign for fellow Republican Brian Kemp. The president first endorsed Kemp during the primary when he was an underdog to Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle. Former President Obama will be in Atlanta on Friday, and he'll be campaigning with fellow Democrat Stacey Abrams over at Morehouse College's Forbes Arena. Obama's last public appearance in Atlanta was back in March of 2015. And we do have some ticket information for the Morehouse event on our website over at 11alive.com. Former President Jimmy Carter has already campaigned with Abrams, but more recently, he wrote a letter to Kemp asking him to step down as Secretary of State. Carter wrote, "In order to inspire confidence in a fair election, Kemp should hand off oversight of the election since he is currently in the election." Kemp has no plans to do so.
Well, if I had resigned, they'd be complaining about me resigning and then blaming everything on me. So I'm not too worried about what the Democrats are thinking. We're doing our job.
Kemp had Governor Deal by his side today, and there are also celebrities outside of the political world involved in this race. Rapper and actor Common was out with Abrams over the weekend, and you probably recognize this guy. This is Will Ferrell, who is working to get out the vote for Abrams at Kennesaw State last Friday.